Assistant Chief Taylor, for standing up, guys. Mark Anthony, give us the lowdown. You know what's going on with this case. It's being exposed. Tell us what's happening.
Well, like you said, his home was there was a sealed warrant. It didn't even have his address on it, which is illegal to begin with. But nevertheless, they raided his house. They raided the police department. They confiscated just tons of evidence that pertained to a case that was very critical, with 70 warrants pertaining to child predators. And so anyway, it's really shook up the community there. Very unexpected this morning around 10 a.m. I've been on the phone with many different people today, as I have been in the past few weeks. We've been in meetings with just loads of sheriffs throughout the country and police departments throughout the country. And we're all just trying to obtain all the stuff that's been going on since 2012, since Chief Taylor has put together. And so anyway, there's such a vast amount of evidence that he has. This was clearly done to shut him down and to shut him up and to shut the case down that Craig Sawyer, Veterans for Child Rescue, helped him with, far as obtaining those warrants from predators. Now, listen, it all started when they got the 70 warrants with a guy named Phil Williams with Channel 5 out of Nashville.
He just did a hit piece. He did a hit piece on Craig Simon Sawyer, Veterans for Child Rescue. They used a piece of my show in that hit piece. Go on.
So long story in short, these people came to locations thinking that they were going to have sex with underage children. And there's so much overwhelming evidence on each one of them to put them away. Now, why in the world would you ever want to unwind something like that? It just doesn't make any sense to me at all. You have to be corrupt. Phil Williams is corrupt. You don't unwind warrants with people that want to have sex with little children.
So basically, the number is 70. 70. So this case had 70 children, right? There was a warrant for the arrest. You guys uncovered it all. And then Phil Williams came in and shut it down.
He has so he's tied into the political machine. There's no questions about it. Listen, when you take the vast amount of evidence over the 14 years that ties to this case, now that we're looking at it at a different viewpoint, he definitely knows somebody that is being arrested or is being charged, or it ties to someone political. There's no reason why Phil Williams should be nosing in to an investigation that's getting 70 predators that prey on children. There's no reason why he's gunning for Chief Taylor's badge and his gun, and to go after him the way he's went after him and Craig Sawyer with Veterans for Child Rescue. No reason whatsoever.
So there's got to be deeper connections here. There's things they're hiding. The teams have been working on this case. It's extensive. Now, this case blows away a couple of famous cases out there. Would you tell us about that?
So, the Ornega case back in the 1980s, this thing would blow it out of the water. It's so vast, and we're going to get into that a little bit. Okay, so when I was brought in, there's roughly around 45 sheriffs throughout the country that has been brought up to date. People were asking, hey, Sean, do you have a dead man switch? And I was thinking, do you? And he's like, well, no. And I said, well, you do, because obviously there's 45 sheriffs and about 10 or 12 police departments now that are actually going out and looking at the stuff in their communities, and they're finding it. So there is a switch now. There's many people.
What that is. Distinguish. What is a dead man switch?
So if something happens to Chief Taylor, then there will be other people that have the information, that have obtained all the information and all the evidence to go forward. and these sheriffs are not going to back down. They've given their word. No matter what, they're coming forward. So I know there's going to be a press release coming up soon. It could be within the next hours to the next couple of days. Not sure how that looks. Still waiting on confirmation between all that. But I know that me and you and several other people in the media and other investigators, ex-law enforcement, 3-letter agencies, and just a vast amount of people. I mean, just so many, it's not even funny. I couldn't even
Well,
count the
it's
people.
huge. It's
It's
huge. And
huge.
it's huge because we understood the vastness of the case. We
That's right.
understood the depth. We understood the trillions of dollars being involved. We understood the way they went about it. So we knew it was imperative to get the information out to the people and the people that could do something about it.
That's right. So, going into a little bit of that case, and it all ties together some way, somehow, I can guarantee it. So when you look at the machine that it's fueling a geopolitical shift in the demographics of areas that were always conservative Republican strongholds. There's actually a professor at Georgia Southern that did a huge piece on the geopolitical shift that we're seeing that ties into Sean's case. It's crazy. The vast amounts of money that's being shifted, that's funding Antifa, BLM, Act Blue, all these other ones through a real estate company that has a lot of DBAs, and it all goes back to certain places in the country and the people that from high up to the city levels that are involved. He has it all. I mean, the sheriffs have already seen it. No matter what happens over between now and the election, once it goes through, these people, once we get the president in there that's supposed to be in the congressional that we need to be, they're going to gun for these people, and they know they're coming after them. And I think that they knew he was hot on their trail, and so I think they're gunning for Chief Taylor. I'm sorry, I've been in meetings with sheriffs all week, talking about
You're
this,
doing
trying
great,
to
Mark. I
wrap our
just
heads around
appreciate
it.
you. I know it's really late where you are right now. It's in the
It
wee
is.
hours of the morning right now. So thank you so much for being here with me. Mark, let's go a little bit more in depth if we can, just for a moment. Let's talk about the ways they're funneling this money to pay off leaders, to pay off people in the election world, to pay off the I don't even want to say it. Let's just say to pay off those in other countries to do the work that they're doing. So, how are they doing it exactly?
Well, from what we're being taught, it's all coming through real estate. I don't know all the ins and outs to how it works, because I was asking in one of the meetings. I'm like, well, how do we tie the back end up? And it goes, well, we can't, because the Tennessee Bureau cut Sean off of a database that he needed to finish this up. And they audited him for it because he asked for 40 houses to be shown the information that he needed, and they cut him off the database, and then they audited his police department for asking for that information. And if it's an open investigation, literally they're not supposed to be able to do that, but they did it to him. And what that was going to prove was how this stuff was being funneled in through the backside. So in the vast, part of this, what we can see that's been shown to us is that there's houses throughout the United States between 8 and 10,000, it looks like, and maybe more, that have home loans that are worth $250,000, $300,000 houses, and they're borrowing $450 million to $550 million on these houses. Matter of fact, we were shown one that they borrowed $999 million
On one home worth $250,000, $300,000. $9 million. And this is not
900 million.
900 million. Thank you for the correction. That's not happening in one home. We're seeing that, or you're seeing that, from what I understand, throughout the entire country.
Throughout the entire country. So what we're wondering is how is it being done? So what does that look like? So I don't know if they're filtering money. It's got to be some type of money laundering, money shifting. But like I said, he wasn't able to get down to the basics. That's why these sheriff's departments are about to get down to the basics of of all the stuff that's involved, because there's vast amounts of sheriffs and police departments that have got involved, plus political figures. I mean, if you knew, I never thought, being on some of those calls, that some of the people I look up and they're on this call and I'm going, holy crap, I know that person. You just never think you're going to be in the same room with them, and they're listening in and they're being floored back in their chair going, what? So he has the evidence. They know he has the evidence. And now I don't think they can stop what's coming for them, because, even if they try to do something to Taylor, there's so many people now that the information's out, and there's secret people that have it as well, that are looking into the backside of it. I think Sheriff Taylor has done an incredible job of upholding the patriot community and his oath to the Constitution, even though, he was with the Tennessee Bureau, my understanding, before, and then, took a leave of absence, came in as the assistant chief where he's at now. But he really believes in the Constitution, even though he's not a sheriff, and upholding that Constitution, and believing in America and what America stands for. But this is the demon machine that feeds everything that we're enduring as citizens today. This is what feeds their whole entire operation that we can see, and it goes from country to country, from like I said, from high up people down to the city. There's to nonprofits. I mean, look, I said this earlier. It looked like a bunch of snails running around connecting dots of who everybody was connected to, and where this was going and where that was going. It was so overwhelming. I literally had to take a breath to go back and look. And I'm like, I can't believe that he has put this together. Now, understand that back when he worked for the Bureau, my understanding is he had like, HSI and a couple other agencies that were helping him on it. They were pulled from the case and put in another country. And it wasn't, and then some point along the time, Sean's house got shot up. So I think it was 25 bullet holes was in his house. So that tells me right there that he was on it and he's all over it. And now they raid the police department. This guy named Phil Williams, this jackleg's trying to unwind 70 warrants of child predator. I mean, think about all this stuff, Kim. I learned so much in those meetings, and so did everybody else. We all have been talking about it off, in other meetings, from the railroad systems to the waterways to the rivers to the borders. I mean, me and you know about borders better than anybody.
Right. That's right.
And so I'm sitting here looking at this from my standpoint, going, holy cow, what in the heck is going on here? You can't wrap your mind around it. It's so big and so vast. It's like God, God is everywhere. Well, this case is everywhere. I mean, there's no telling how many countries it will extend to. From China to the Royal Crown, there's no telling where it'll go. I mean,
Mark, we're seeing right now, this is the assistant chief of Millersville Police Department. He has been working for the protection of the children, the protection of people for years. They are committed to taking him down because he is exposing the truth. Now, we talked in the beginning of this how Fox 17 literally announced his address on television. Let's just talk about that for a second. Now, for those in the Patriot Awake community, they would say, well, maybe CNN, ABC, those channels they're corrupt. They are just, it's like fake news. You hear President Trump say over and over, fake news. Now you've got Fox 17. It just shows you the level of corruption, and they will do whatever it takes to keep that corruption going. That's why this case is so important. You're dealing with trillions of dollars, but it's the things that we've been fighting. We have been working so hard on the front of election integrity. We've been working so hard and take our borders back. It's like, what else can we do when our own people who are set in positions to serve we the people, like our border patrol, are being hamstrung? Now our assistant chief is being hamstrung. They raid his home, they take his phone, they take his computers. They don't even have a warrant to be in the guy's home. Listen, I want to pull up a video real quick. This video is important. I want everyone to hear the heart of this sheriff. It's a warning to all of us, because if they can do it to our true commander-in-chief, Donald Trump, then they can do it to every single one of us. They just did it to a sheriff.
So Kim, they did have a warrant for his house, but it didn't have his address on it, which if you know anything about law, that's not a legal search warrant without the address on that warrant. So there was a lot of things that the Tennessee Bureau did wrong. I will say, my personal opinion, I can't speak for Taylor, but I would say in the matter of about 24 hours, there's going to be mass lawsuits filed all over. And it would be my guess that 17 will get a lawsuit as well for putting his address out there. Look, here's where it is. Think about this for 1 second. The audience needs to follow this.
Yep.
We talk about the 70 warrants. We talk about Phil coming after him for those 70 warrants. Why would you ever want to undo it? It's clear. Corruption. They're scared of getting caught. Why would 17 put his address out there for all the crazies to come do something to him that they want to be done?
Mm-hmm.
It shows you that he is on the right path and that he has uncovered something huge. Well, I'm telling you, the 45 sheriffs, they know he has too. And I'm going to tell you, there's 3 huge departments out there right now that, that when they get a hold of what they've got, the Texas Rangers, there's other departments that are fixing to get this going through another sheriff's department. They're actually going to have meetings with the Texas Rangers. When they find out what's going on in their community in Texas, it's going to erupt. They've got an AG on board. They're looking at so many things, and then all the attorneys that are involved. It's truly corruption at the finest. And if you can't see why they're doing this to him, something's wrong with it. Look, if he was just some podunk sheriff that didn't have any idea, and look, he's like me, he's an old country boy. I mean, he's super cool. If he didn't have anything, they'd just leave him alone. But they're gunning for him because he has it all, and they know it.
Right. Mark, let's share this video. Here we go. Okay. This is Sean Taylor, Assistant Chief of Millersville Police Department. This is his plea and call out to every single one of us.
Hello, everybody. I'm Assistant Chief Taylor with the Millersville Police Department, Middle Tennessee. My agency and myself have been investigating corruption within Tennessee and throughout the United States. We have identified people with the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, members of the District Attorney's Conference here in Tennessee, members of the Judiciary, as well as in numerous other states. Today, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation executed a search warrant on our police department, as well as my personal residence, looking for any type of electronic devices and or anything that pertained to the investigations that we were doing. When I requested a copy of the search warrant of my residence, they provided me a copy that was not for my residence, and they refused to give me a copy of the search warrant that would list my home address. So this is what people have to look forward to if they go after the corruption nationally and locally.
This is what we have to look forward to. This kind of corruption nationally and locally. Did you hear that, Mark?
Oh, yeah. He's very clear in making his statements. Listen, tonight he was on Patriot Party News with Chaz. Craig Solomon Sawyer was there. He went into some vast detail on there. And I think in the next few days, I'm sure he's going to be on this show with you. I know that some big name media has reached out. I'm sure we'll hear from them probably first thing in the morning that want to cover the story. It's going to get out. They're not going to stop it from this point because there's too many people involved now. I mean, look, we got tons of people from the previous administration. We got people that are in the current administration that's turning their heads on the current administration and coming to light, pulling over from what I consider to be the liberal Democrat over to conservative now, because they're leaving the Democrat Party. They're trusted and they understand it now. So there's lots of people that are coming aboard that are going to be in the back wing waiting for this thing to hit, and they're going to step out. There's so many people that have been in these meetings with us that I was just, like I said, I was just, I'm really taken back from some of the people that stepped into those meetings
Yeah.
to take a listen to
Incredible.
it that really got
Mhm.
shocked.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. We knew things would be popping off. We're close to elections right now. God does not allow things to be hidden. Things may be hidden for a time, but he clearly says that everything will be exposed and laid bare. Mark, you were saying to me earlier, you said, Kim, there's just so much corruption. How it's like, how can we do this? Right?
Right.
Thank God we have all of these people that know the truth, right? But most importantly, we need God here. We need a complete awakening of this country. We need to expose every bit of this wickedness, take it down, because it all goes back to the children. If
That's
we
right.
really look, it goes back to those innocent
It,
children.
it starts with them. It's going to end with them. I mentioned earlier that I was told that Maine has now implemented the death penalty for child trafficking. I believe when Donald Trump gets back into office, which I pray that he does, because I think God's given him that rightful place. I believe that every child trafficker and every serious drug dealer will be put to death in the upcoming years. And I believe that's the only way to show the people, saying, hey, you straighten up, or this is what's going to happen to you. Look, I'm all for it. I say kill them all. If you've harmed a child, look, we're their voice. And we're out here all the time beating the bush down, trying to stop it or prevent it or to catch them and put them in jail. It's one thing in this world that just makes me sick. And you know me, you want to hear choking and tearing up. Listen, there's nobody in this world has seen the stuff that I've seen. And I'm not saying that other people haven't, but I'm just saying, if they could look through my eyes to see the things that I've seen over the years, it will absolutely mortify you. You wouldn't even go to sleep at night. The things that happen to these kids, from the time that they're groomed to the time they're 10 or 12 years old, to even the people that turn their back on some of these organizations. They kill
Yeah.
them and they cut them up in a million pieces and scatter their remains across the whole world. It's the craziest stuff I've ever seen in my life. I mean, it just totally amazes me.
It's just wicked.
Yeah, and it's like, I talked to JJ Carroll a few weeks ago, and
Mhm.
we discussed some of this stuff. We discussed
Yes.
other things, and I spoke at the women's GOP out in Kansas and
Mhm.
had a long talk with them and opened their eyes, because they knew it was happening, but they didn't know how serious it really was.
Right.
Listen, we need God more than ever right now, because we
Mhm.
can't do this alone.
Mhm.
We need the
It's
Spirit
funny.
of God to move across this nation.
Yes, it's not ironic that with our Take Our Border Back North America Alliance, USA, Canada, Mexico, our scripture is 2 Chronicles 7:14. The Lord says, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and turn from their wicked ways, I will hear their voice and heal their land. We need healing. That's the only way this is going to happen. We need to understand whose we are, Mark, because when people start waking up in this world as to whose they are, that we are children of the King of Kings. Jesus says, you'll do even greater things than me. That's going to give us the ability to step into our God given power, access our leadership, and allow our voices to be heard and rescue these children and stop the corruption.
When this thing's, I tell people all the time, when I know that our children are safe, I'll walk off the scene. I'll never be seen on one of these podcasts again. I'll go back to my life, but I'm not going to rest until these children are saved. And I know for a fact I can lay my head on that pillow and say, Lord, I did everything that I was asked to do, and what my heart led me to do. And being able to rest knowing that those children are taken care of. Listen, we're sitting here talking right now. You know how much I love you, and I know, and I know how much you love me. That there's such a bond of a sister and a brother here.
My
Think
brother from
about,
another mother.
and you think about as we're sitting here talking, discussing this, there's a child out there being raped right now. There's a child out there being murdered right now. There's a child being tied up and brutally tortured right now.
From the harvesting of organs to adrenochrome. Guys, this is real stuff. There are some children that never seen daylight because they are in the dark, hidden deep. This is all the stuff that have got to be exposed. If you're a mom, I mean, I'm sick to my stomach right now. I have 4 babies, right? They're not babies anymore, but I know where my babies are. These moms out there don't know where these babies are. And sometimes these women, in many cases who've been trafficked, are having their babies underground. They're having those babies. They've not seen the light. There's 3 generations that have not seen the light at times. So that's the reality of the darkness we're dealing with. This is not new. That's what people need to understand. We've been so deceived. We've been drinking the Kool-Aid. This is not new. This corruption, this darkness, this demonic darkness has been around forever. It's Satan's goal.
We watched movies growing up, and you and I are about the same age. Watching movies growing up of witch doctors and voodoo and all that. You're watching the movie and you're not thinking anything. It's like, wow, that's a crazy country. Wow, that's really going on. Even albino children, witch doctors, wanting limbs, buying limbs, and dismembering these people in different countries. Listen, I got news for you. It's in your backyard. It's happening right here in America. They're cloaking children with evil spirits. It's happening right here. I would never in a million years thought I would ever witness some of the stuff that I've seen and heard. It's absolutely mind-blowing that this is an actual spiritual war.
Yeah.
And it's happening right under our nose in your backyard, and you don't even know that it's happening. You never know who your neighbor is. You never know who the guy up the street is. Because I'm going to tell you, these predators, it only takes them 30 seconds and damage is done for life. And they could come in at any time, any angle. It could be your best friend's brother. It could be your best friend. You don't know these people. You don't let them around your children. That's
right. That's right, Mark. I'm going to share a scripture. The Bible says in Isaiah 58:6, is this not the kind of fasting I have chosen, to loose the chains of injustice and untie the cords of the yoke, to set the oppressed free and break every yoke. That is our job. So if they are silencing right now, Sean Taylor, an assistant chief, they are silencing him. Does that not tell us that it is our responsibility? We cannot put it in these leaders and these officials that we have in place, because right now the people who are running the things are so corrupt. So we've got to take our power back. We the people have got to come together. We need to support someone like Sean Taylor. It's imperative right now.
We always talk about people standing up. We always talk about, getting involved at your local level, because that creates national impact.
Yeah.
Listen, people in America are looking for someone to save them. Well, I got news for you. There's no one saving you. They're very few and far between. You're going to have to step out and take your power back as an individual. Step with your neighbor, unify, and move forward. Listen, you want people to fight for you? Sean Taylor's one of those people. Craig Sawman Sawyer, one of those people.
Right.
They fight for us every single day, every minute of the day. Those are warriors. You wanted it. Now get behind them and support them. Listen, whoever sees this, share it vast and all over. Just get it out everywhere you can.
That's right.
And reach out to Millersville Police Department. Let them know that you stand behind them. If you live in that community, stop by and shake their hand, because I'm telling you, these guys are true heroes. No kidding. Yes. No doubt about it.
Yep.
No, just I
Those
was
that
just
are
going to.
just joining the program right now, that you're just jumping in, you're like, what's going on? Breaking news, the biggest corruption story in America being exposed. Sean Taylor, Assistant Chief of Millersville Police Department, just had his home invaded. There was not a complete warrant for that. You ask what's going on. The people in charge are trying to cover up human trafficking, political corruption dealings, drug runners, multi-state jurisdiction, and election fraud. We're dealing with trillions of dollars on the line. Assistant Chief Taylor is one of those people who is standing up. The Millersville Department is standing up. We have got to support them. We've got to expose what's happening. And, we have a saying, bankrupt the corrupt. It's time to bankrupt the corrupt right here.
Well, they gunned for Donald Trump because we all know what he's done behind the scenes. We know what he's done for our country, and the same thing with Sean. He's doing the same thing, and they're gunning for him. Like I said, he has all the evidence. I don't care. I don't care what anybody says. He has it. We've all seen it. I mean, like I said, and there's going to be more this week that's going to see it because this is going to get out even further now.
Yeah, so they've taken his
Today,
laptop, they've taken his phone. So here's the deal. When you talked about the kill switch earlier, that information has already been widely dispersed
that's right.
to people who can actually do something about it. So,
And I know by morning it will be in the Texas Rangers' hands in Texas. And I guarantee you, those
don't mess
guys
with
don't play
Texas.
around. God bless Texas. I mean, because I'm here to tell you, I'm a bit of a Texan myself,
Just a little.
by association. So I'm there a lot. So I will
Yeah.
tell you that when Texas gets involved, that they'll blow the lid off of this thing just out of Texas alone. But
Yeah.
all these 45 sheriffs and these 12 PD departments, they're already digging. They're already finding what they need to find. And what we've noticed in this geopolitical is, if it's a Republican conservative area, they'll just inch out just a little bit across the line, and then all of a sudden it starts waving more and more and more and more and more and more until the point that they change the geopolitical shift and where they want it. And what I can tell from the graphs is it looks like they're looking for those electoral places to gain those electoral votes. And that's what they're doing. They've learned these are elite people that have really worked on this really hard to put this machine together. And it's people like you and I and the rest of the American public that are suffering.
Well, Mark Anthony, thank you for staying up in the wee hours of the morning to be here with me right now and to, expose this. So we're going to be keeping our audience up to date with what's going on. We're going to have Sean Taylor on in the next couple of days. That way you can hear it from his mouth as well. But just like Mark Anthony said, it's imperative that you get this out everywhere. People need to know what's going on. It's time. I mean, we already, there's been a peppering of all of this information coming out, right? Little by little by little by little. But now it's out in one big shot and we're dealing with trillions of dollars. Get it out. Let's stop the corruption.
And stay tuned because as things unfold, I know that you'll bring it to the public of where and who's reporting it and who's starting to step into the light. Because like I said, there's a lot of movement right now from West Palm Beach all the way up to Maine, all the way across to the Midwest into California, down to Texas. I mean, there's a huge wave that people are getting involved in this case, and they're getting ready to expose them. And you know what? I feel sorry for Phil Williams. I really do, because I got a feeling they're going to tie him to something. And he's going to go down with the machine just like the rest of them will. You don't take 70 warrants when it comes to children and try to unwind those warrants when people are committed and come to the place to have sex with those kids. I got news for you. It doesn't work that way. I don't care how you set it up. I don't care what kind of sting operation it is. If you're coming to have sex with children, you're coming to have sex with children, and there's no ifs and buts about it. It's wrong, and those people deserve to go to jail.
Mark Anthony, thank you so much for being with us tonight. You guys, stay tuned. TakeYourPowerBackShow.com. That's TakeYourPowerBackShow.com. Get this out everywhere. God bless you. God bless America. Let's stop the corruption. Let's support the Millersville Police Department and Sean Taylor. God bless you.